Hey guys, what's up? Sparky here. We're here at Sparky's Hack Shack, and I have got the great opportunity to introduce you guys to Center 5 Outdoors. Right? That's what you guys are.
That's awesome.
So we got Brad, Blake, Chris, Dustin. I'm playing with you. I know.
Yeah.
So these guys been doing some archery stuff, and I'm just going to turn it over and let them introduce themselves and tell you what they're all about. So,
Starting off with you, Brad, I guess.
I'm the old man of the group.
Not
I'm
that
a lot older than them. So anyway, as far as archery goes, I've been into it since, honestly, I can remember. Growing up in Oklahoma, it was all things outdoors. And I realized real quick that the hardest thing to do was to be good with a bow. So all my friends wanted to shoot guns, and I shot guns, and shotguns, but then when it comes to bows, that's where I really enjoyed getting better at a young age and turning that into something, which actually my first ever deer kill was with a bow, so that was kind of cool. And then it just progressed from there. Had a little bit of a layoff, and really just got back into it this past year after a not so professional mountain bike career accident. Got me off of bikes and back behind a bow, so that's where I'm at. I've done it my whole life and plan on continuing.
excellent.
All right, well, I'm Blake, and I've had a bow in my hand for the last, I guess, 23 years or so. I started when I was 8 years old, just shooting in the backyard, and started bow hunting when I was 10. Yeah, we just kind of always, as a family, it was always a family tradition to bow hunt. You know, that was where we had our fun, and then we, used the guns if we needed to put meat in the freezer. But we always had the bow opportunity to spend that time in the woods as family, and and then about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to try this cool thing called 3D archery I'd never done before, and I shot one tournament, and that was a wrap. I was completely hooked and addicted, and we just been running full steam ahead ever since, and pretty much work to play at that point. So whether my wife wants me to or not, I'm always running to go shoot.
I'm Chris. I've been bow hunting since 2000. Since I was about 14. So I've been doing this about 15 years. I started competition side of it, I don't know, 6-7 years ago maybe. Can't remember exactly, but got into it because of my grandparents. Grandparents introduced me to hunting and took our first deer when I was 14 years old, and been hooked ever since. And competition side of it just started because I just wanted to shoot all the time. And then I started getting pretty decent at it, and I wanted to see where it would take me. So I led me down the road that I'm on now, shooting with everybody. So.
All right. Well, I'm Dustin. Had a bow in my hand about as long as I can remember since I was a little kid. Started at about 6 or 7 years old. Deer hunted with a bow the entire time up through being a kid, teenager, while I was in the Marine Corps. Got out, met up with Blake, and started doing a little bit of indoor target archery with him. After that, I kind of picked back up, ran into 3D with them, and I've been hooked. That's all there is to it.
So how did you guys meet?
Good question. I mean, we've been it's kind of a staged event, like I said, we met in stages or whatever. I it all started because of a Facebook message. His dad owns second to none archery bowstrings, and I needed a new string for my hunting bow, and everybody said call Daniel Diggs. So I sent Danny a message, and next thing you know, Danny asked me if I wanted to come shoot the Reinhardt R100 with him. Since I was going anyway, he was like, "Man, just meet up with us there. You can shoot if you got time." And just a 5-6 year friendship has kindled out of that, and we started hanging out, shooting. When Chris's work schedule changed a little bit, we started shooting even more together, and so kind of got more into that. that was kind of pretty much how it worked.
So you two met, and then you started shooting other.
Yeah, we well, so August or whatever, last August he talked me into changing classes to play with the big boys is what he wanted. He kept guilt tripping me
Okay.
because I was pretty much going in and dominating the hunter classes that we were shooting, and he was like, yeah, well, you know, anybody can do that, but you got to come out here and play, you know, play with the big guys. So he goaded me into spending the money and jumping into open class for 2019. And when I bought all my stuff, built my bow, got everything ready, and started shooting an indoor league at a local archery shop to try to get myself kind of pulled together, because I really didn't have anything. I didn't know anything about anything at this point, because everything felt different, everything shot different. It was just totally different experience. And while I was shooting at Wilcox Indoor League, ended up meeting Dustin, who was up there. Basically the same thing. You know, you can talk more about that, but basically just up there to keep shooting over the winter.
I mean, at that point in time, I was just looking for somewhere to release a couple of arrows. I was new to the area, didn't know of any real ranges, didn't have any property to shoot on, so I kind of seized the moment to come out there and shoot with you guys. I was shooting a hunting bow at the time, nothing special, going up there and letting these dudes beat up on me on indoor faces, and then
Would have been the last time I beat you.
and then as I got hooked into it, I picked up a target bow as well and started building on that. And now I'm just trying to stay in the race to keep up with these guys.
And then I'm the new guy that moves to Virginia in December, so I've been here 9 months, and the first thing you do when you move into a new area is you Google nearest Matthews bow dealer. So ended up in Wilcox and met Dustin, and you know, just a good old boy from Kentucky that didn't sound like the rest of the people from Virginia, but neither do I. So he said, hey, you know, we've got indoor league they shoot across the street. I've never done that, but hey, I'll shoot a bow anywhere. And then they talked to me, and that's where I met Blake. He was there that night, and they were like, hey, we're doing 3D shooting and foam animals, come shoot. I thought, I'm pretty good with a bow, so sure. I'm not as good as I thought I was. But that being said, it was that easy to meet people that, you know, that you're alike, and
That's
that
great.
it just went from there. And then they got me to spend a lot more money. And I bought one of those big long bows with stabilizers
Right.
that'll touch the target, all that good stuff. And I realized real quick that there is a lot more to archery that can keep you shooting year round. And I've written some stuff that kind of explains the tendency that we've had as archers growing up. You crack open the bow case, you hope nothing broke with the summer heat when it was in storage or whatever,
Mhm.
and you fire a few arrows into a paper plate and a hay bale at 20 yards, you're good to go.
Right.
There's a lot more to it than that. So that's kind of where it went, and it's been great for me ever since. And I've been into the target side for 4 months now, I guess, 5 months, and it's been great.
Cool. What's interesting here is that even though you're a bunch of individuals, you guys have come together as Center 5 Outdoors, is what we were
That's right.
calling this. And it sounds interesting. Can I get a little bit of explanation of what Center 5 Outdoors means?
Sure. So, in the 3D realm, you know, which is kind of where it really brought us all together, 3D archery.
And what is 3D archery? I mean,
So,
real
okay, I
quick.
guess we break this down. So 3D archery is that the foam animals that are set up on various ranges and different areas and different kind of, sometimes there's more strategic shots, or sometimes it's just on a flat plane. It kind of depends on what the range that we're shooting at and what
Okay.
kind of organization we're shooting for. But they are, you know, it's a life-size type, you know, animal,
Okay.
whether it be a turkey, a lynx, a deer, you know, bear, whatever. There's all kinds of different ones. On a 3D archery target, the whole entire body is scored as a 5. So if you shoot and hit it anywhere on the body, you at least get 5 points.
Okay.
So, and then there's a smaller ring, like, so we'll just use a deer for example. On the
Okay.
vital area of a deer, which is about that big of an area, is an 8 ring, and then it steps in and it goes to a 10 ring, which is
Okay.
usually it's about a 5-inch diameter circle, and then inside that ring there's either an 11 or a 12, depending on which organization that you're shooting at the time. And that we'll get more into that at another time
Okay.
of explaining all of the specifics, but. But the actual whole animal is 5 ring.
I see where
And
this is going.
so, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, in London, Kentucky, I shot with a gentleman named Chris Batchelor. Hey, Chris. And we were talking before the round started that like what our goals were, what our expectations for the day were, and everything. And all of us we're all hyped up, we're all confident, we're all feeling like we can do something with this round, and. He says, I was like, oh, if I can at least hang a 10 ring on all of them and then catch a couple of 12s, I'll be happy.
Okay.
And the other guy was like, well, I need 5 12s just to make myself feel like it was worth coming here. And another guy says, man, if I can just hit foam, I'm okay. And Chris says, well, man, my goal is just to shoot center 5 all day. And we're just kind of like, center 5, and we laughed about it at the time, and now it's kind of stuck with us, and it was always so. Literally every target, as soon as the bow went off, we were like, man, where'd you hit? He was like, center 5. And that was just, and he shot really well and everything anyway throughout the day, but it just kept the mood really light, and that really kind of just, we played off of that all day.
Okay.
So when we were trying to come up with a name that was unique, and that was catchy, but it was also something that kept us kind of, remind us of where we're at, and also didn't sound like something that's been beat to death.
Okay.
Or too showy. That was another thing we didn't want to sound like. There's, we could go upper 12 or kind of thing like that. Well, hey, there's a lot of days that we wish we could buy 12s. We just couldn't. So so center 5 came up, and at first it was kind of like a chuckle, and then it was like, well, man, that actually is kind of cool.
It's an achievable goal
And,
that
you
can
know,
go
something
out and
that's,
anyone should be able to
Yeah.
hope.
Hit foam.
That's
Hit foam.
exactly. It was
Okay.
hit foam, and as much as I hate that saying of hitting, like as long as I hit foam, I love the just the kind of mentality that goes behind center 5.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that came from. And that kind of spills right over into what center 5 is for our focus and purpose. I
Okay.
mean, we want to showcase guys that are for the most part normal. I mean, we do have Dustin. But no, we wanted to showcase kind of the amateur competitive archers world.
That's one thing Blake and I spoke about, and I think we've all hit on at one point in conversation. Because this is the first year we've shot the national events with ASA, we've all gone on YouTube or wherever trying to find some information on it, and there's some good information, and there's not some good information, and
There's not even a very
Yeah.
much bad information.
That's what I'm saying.
There's
It's
just
there's
a
not.
lot of no information at all.
So we-
Expectations.
so
yeah, so we just
expectations of what you're going to
Yeah.
walk into.
Right.
So
It's almost non-existent.
Yeah, so literally that's where this stems from, is we just want to help people that are in the situations we were
Where you
in.
guys came
Yeah.
from. Okay.
And
And as we progress, we're going to go through those kind of feelings
Yeah.
again to some extent. So we're going to be
Yeah,
able to
we're gonna
showcase those now.
break down videos of it going forward.
Absolutely.
Just
Excellent.
we
I mean, I know
honestly want to work.
When we went to
well.
Augusta this year, we were going in completely blind. We felt like, and by the time that we left there, the learning curve was just through the moon. And
Crazy.
Dustin wasn't able to join us on that trip; he had to work, and we were able to come back and be like, "Look, man, this is what we learned, this and everything." So, like when he got to London, he got just a little bit of information that we were able to impart with him. Was a huge learning curve to help. To mean that his just the fear of the unknown was down a lot
Right.
from that.
You demystified.
Yeah, and
the-
so
the
once we
existence
were
of-
able to like see that, man, that just the learning curve and what to expect, even things to like why they tell us to shoot when we have to shoot, or where do we shoot,
different
or,
ranges.
and
Okay.
how do we get from point A to point B, and timing and all of that kind of things. Like, so those are kind of things we're going to break down, and we're going to try to help help our audience. You know, if there is anybody out there that's going to watch this, you know, as far as, but we're going to try to help, you know, the newer folks become more comfortable, and hopefully in the process, we're going to get more people out on the range with us.
Cool.
You know, as far as I know that if I can get a feel for a circumstance or a situation before I get there, my mind is much more comfortable
Right.
going to and
Less
doing
stressful.
that, putting myself in those positions. So if I can help somebody else feel more comfortable, I feel like I'm going to help them get there more, you know, more frequently and more freely.
But if they start beating us, we're going to stop these.
Yeah,
Like,
Okay.
We don't want them that
No,
comfortable.
I
that's right.
Keep them center 5 and y'all will be good.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's right.
This concludes part 1 of this interview. Don't forget to check out part 2, where the guys go into what the plan is for the future and what we're going to be bringing to the table for the 2020 archery seasons. And don't forget, if you're interested in archery in any way, help out and subscribe. And if you know anyone else who's interested in this kind of stuff, feel free to forward it to them too. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. Until next time, stay focused and keep them center 5.